Hello, welcome to One A Day New Channel. Today, our topic is about how to heal our wounded femininity from mental projections and their related soul ties. So, cutting these soul ties. Stopping mental projections cuts these soul ties entirely to people, places, things, even groups of people. Staying emotionally affected with that yucky feeling in the chest caused by an attachment soul tie means your mind is trying to dichotomize or ping pong opposites back and forth. The wishy-washy stuff. For a woman, this gets tough when learning relational polarities when trying to embody our femininity. We have been trained and conditioned sometimes to extreme non-autonomous extents to be over-functioning empaths in order to survive. Usually for the abuser's benefits. This is the people pleasing. Pleasing those we know off of the bat are users, manipulative and mean-spirited. We developed a sort of sixth sense, or usually literally an actual sixth sense, for people-pleasing, narcissists, Machiavellians, psychopaths from an early age in order just to survive. Usually this caused us to intellectualize the wrongs happening to us, and these intellectualizations gave us leverage over the abuses. In time, we rewired our neuroplasticity to believing our own distorted protective beliefs. This was, in fact, a very liminal state of mind. One end of the ping pong table was the abuse. The opposite was us rationalizing an excuse or developing a coping behavior, just in order to survive. In time, we learned being too naive around these people cost us a lot. So we studied harder and learned to be like them, so we could further protect us. But being too far on the dangerous side cost us too, so we found a better balance in the middle of this game. And that was the liminal spot. That's the spot between realities or dimensions. Our shadow hiding space. But what often happens is we women, empaths, could see both sides clearly, but could not turn off the emotions. For years and decades, even our whole life sometimes, we were ridiculed by the abusers that we ourselves were just too emotional. The puzzle piece or mystery we ladies are searching for our whole lives sometimes is the distancing, the detaching from the delusions, the illusions, the lies, both of the opposing sides, from the abusers, but most importantly from our most vulnerablest weaknesses. We know these weaknesses sometimes as mental and thought these gained access through our choices. Other times we called it just too emotional and wrecked our brains self-punishing. Why do we feel so much? Why does it just loop and always return? And why does it hold stronghold over us, over our mind, over our emotions? What is happening? Really, what no one told us was mainly that because they never ventured between the worlds, is that this liminal, ambiguous sort of unreality, the mystical realm, the spiritual side of life, is made up of our soul. So in the Latin, soul, S-O-L, which rests in our solar plexus, there we feel, what we feel reflects through that spectral light prism and magnifies or intensifies the feelings perceived. So whatever we women feel, it enters here and magnifies. That's why we feel so much and so much flooding of emotion when we are empaths, and we take on too much because it's entering the soul through improper means. And these mental projections, on the other hand of this, is also just that, spectral light projections in the mental third eye, the sixth sense, the higher mind, the wise mind, the Christ mind, and so forth. And it's also said to sit up here. This is the pineal crystal projection, which is a receiver. So everything that we can't hear and can't see and feel, it enters through our reception. It receives all light and sound and wavelength that our eyes and ears cannot normally perceive. When our minds, our emotion mind, and our rational thought mind have been narcissistically abused, we don't have secure function in these brains, but rather each distorts all thought and all emotion. Each lobe plays its own distorted ping pong. So you got ping pong over here and you got ping pong over here, where we feel and think too much at times. So the mental projections we receive, or that we know or sense the truth, but our emotions will fawn and make rationalizations, excuses, and intellectualizations. And the same is for fight, flight, and freeze. The emotions may jump to extremes, or completely shut down and freeze, or numb all of the emotions. The rational mind under distortion will be irrational, convert to an alter ego persona to fit into different situations, judge and be egotistical, or go straight into masculine logic. To turn off that liminal state, that forced state of unknowing, unsure of our safety or the direction things are going, is to stop and turn off the intellectualization, stop the mental project, the mental projections. We create projects with the abusers, and oftentimes with the men, it's kind of like the Build-A-Bay, or fix him, or he has potential, or if he just does this, he can change sort of projects. If a man is or was charming and did the part-time provider deal, used you or us women for comfort, showed the red flags, and then let the mask slip, an abused empathetic woman in the liminal state will intellectualize both her thoughts and ping-pong her emotions. She'll go from, I'll just try again, he had a bad day, I'll try a new trick when I feel better and regain control. I'll ignore him for a day, I'm upset and hurt. We're not in a relationship, so I'll just cut him off. He's still talking to me. I got no one to protect me from him. I'll try my best again. If I go to a store and buy a snack and a drink, I pay, I leave, usually. Most cashiers don't engage. So I don't go home or out and intellectualize, oh, she was nice, and I'll try to talk to her next time, and I'll go there more because she's there. That's usually an emotional pull toward a familiar abuse. Silence or silent treatment. Something triggers us. We overfunctioned excuses for why an abuser was doing that, or fixed extra behaviors to prove our worthiness to get validation. Or the cashier just to crack a smile, for instance. We work in overtime sometimes. So people who are emotionally secure and non-liminally anxious attachee, and mentally or logically secure and non-liminally needy or obsessive, they leave this store and refuse to think or feel toward that. They consider it closed for good. It's just, that's it. And they have literally this down to a behavioral science sometimes, that nothing bothers them or phases them, and they don't give it a second thought. Us, on the other hand, the empaths, we have narratives in our head for every situation. So the same should be with a man who's abusing us, giving amusement park flags, hot and cold, manipulative. The first frequency we catch of that, we're supposed to realize, oh no! If it hits our solar plexus, we're going to be hooked. If it hits our pineal, we're going to develop superhuman 4F subconscious reactions that throw us into risky hell behaviors. So 4F, fight, flight, fawn, and freeze behaviors. And I got a jet. I gotta go feed my dog. I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna head out. We need to develop the superpower of excusing ourselves from the abusive situations immediately. Once, no more mental projections, no more emotional distortions of, what if he's upset? Vicariously feeling his precious little mother and father wounds, and then ping-ponging. We think we'll just explain to him tomorrow. But the demons are light distortions that never got processed or made known. Right? Every time people hunt demons, they ask, what's your name? What's your name, demon? What are you doing? And they ask the people suffering what it is doing and how it's bothering them. So, practicing closing the solar pineal looping projections fortifies the vulnerable feminine energies within and raises the Holy Spirit within, or the self-confidence. And it returns value or power over our own autonomy, which means masculine energy has balanced the feminine, and we then feel safe and firm in our decisions and powerful and in our right to be, and that's just how it is. Do not rationalize or intellectualize or project. Rationalize and intellectualize are distortions or half arcs of light in the mind, which get reduced to little nagging slivers or splinters in the mind we can no longer find or get out, but they hurt and they just torment. And these can turn into demonic torments, racing thoughts, nightmares, irrational fears, and so on. Projections are the distorted emotions. So we suppress them into slivers, but since they're water, emotions are water, and we women are made of mainly water. These little slivers of distorted emotions, it taints the whole well. The whole mind goes dark with these projections and intellectualizations, and they flood out when we don't choose, when we're unsuspecting them to do so. They are, or we're using substances or intimate or nostalgic situations that trigger them, and they come back with vengeance depending on how the sliver hurts the egoic mind. We don't need an external man to come save us. We only have to balance our flooded, over-functioning, liminal, wounded, feminine energy with closing our ancient gates. So no monkeys seeing and hearing no evil over here. Our crystals, our chakra centers, the solar plexus and the heart chakra, as well as the throat chakra and the third eye chakra, or the pineal. By closing and maintaining this closure, we cut the soul ties to these people, places, things, experiences. We're not thinking about them anymore. They are literally now out of sight and out of mind, as they should be. When we can't stop feeling, there's a soul tie. When we can't stop thinking, there's a soul tie beginning, or one already there. And when we can't stop thinking and feeling, we are in deep, we are in trauma. And the trauma is flooding in and confusing us as to the intensity of the new situation. But cutting these soul ties, by closing these ancient gates, we have a right to boundaries, to our value, to our time, to our personal space, to our feminine, sacred energy. And this is the access point that the demons get in. These arcs of light, these impressions from the abusers and the external world. It gets into our mouth, we repeat what we hear from them, or we speak and we going on and on to them, telling our life story to somebody we've just met. And in our mind we think, oh, they're receiving it and they're asking us questions, and now they really like us, and they're using it for ammo, for information to come back at us with later to abuse us and control us. So these are gates. If we close this doesn't record what is being said, and this doesn't store the water body memory that all of this did. And this is a high tower and a heart chakra. So often we forget that this is attached to this. We're just going like this. And we forget to feel. But usually we are projecting vicarious understandings of other people's emotions, especially the abusers. How do they feel? Am I not doing something they like, or are they mad at me, or can they tell I'm nervous and I'm upset, or did I say that a little bit too strongly? Instead of realizing this is our reality, those projections in the back of our mind, those water emotions talking to us inside silently while we're around them or away from them after we've been around people like that, these floods of emotions and projections are not us. They are not who we are. They have been internalized, ingested, taken in, accepted as us, who we are. But this is who we are. How do I feel? I feel yucky with all this emotion. I can't make it stop, is usually how we feel. I want it to stop. It's just, I need to stop thinking about this. I don't want to do this ever again. And that's usually where we find ourselves, and we're looking towards the outside for somebody to come and rescue us, usually a man, a new man, or looking for a woman who's usually very cold, very narcissistic at the same time, because we usually are attracted to predators who will receive us but are not for us. They want to know our information and situation in order to control us and gain supernatural strongholds over these gates, these processes. What goes in here, what comes out of here, or even what comes in through here, what we speak on behalf of somebody else's understanding, gets into here, we feel it. It gets into our heart. It reflects. And then we feel the outside world just totally understands us as that projected capacity, that projected person, that projected way of being. And we get this distortions up here, and it can turn into more kind of out there thinking, rabbit hole thinking, feeling into even the psychosis level of thinking, where we're racking our brain so much that we think now they just know that's what we're thinking or who we are. And again, these concepts are not any diagnosis of anybody or psychological in any sense. They're just lived experiences being put together. And if they help you, then by all means, please feel free to be benefited by them. In the meantime, so this video is not for toxic religious and dichotomous evil versus good thinkers. You won't like the words or concepts that have been included in this video, and it's not for you. But I hope this video helps close the mental, emotional, and spiritual gaps for anyone who has lived and survived narcissistic, Machiavellian, and psychopathy abuses. The more we learn about feminine energy protection and protection, and how to balance both the masculine and feminine within, and discover we don't need an external male to rescue us, we can regain our own feminine autonomy, our own spiritual, our own soul autonomy, our own mental thinking, emotional autonomy, our own self-sufficiency and self-respect and esteem. That's our power, by being autonomous in our femininity, which is balanced by the masculinity of us, ourselves, being able to protect these gates from what we're ingesting and receiving and perceiving, and then projecting as an understanding. Not everything needs an understanding. If I cut somebody off today, and they've done me wrong, this, okay, calculatively, they're now cut off. I do not go home and think, are they upset? Will they try and contact me? What do I do when I don't have this person in my life? All the ruminations, all the intellectualizations. Well, people are going to know sooner or later that we're not talking anymore, and I'm going to have to see them when I walk up the street anyway, or go to the coffee shop that they go to at the same time that I go to every day. All these, I don't go home and do that. We don't do that. That stops by, we're not thinking about talking to them, we're not thinking about hearing them, or them hearing us, we're not thinking about seeing them, we're not thinking and receiving anything that they could think or ever perceive in this earth. We're not feeling for them. Are they upset? Am I upset because of this? No. Our boundaries. These are our boundaries. Protect them. This is our boundaries. Cut them off, we're protected. That's a balance of feminine and masculine energies of our Holy Spirit, our esteem, and our well-being. Thank you for enjoying this video today.